morning. My name is Lawrence Romo. I'm the LULAC National Vice President for Veterans. And LULAC today stands honored and proud to work and support Ms. Esmeralda Cantu Castle, the mother of the murdered U.S. Navy Culinary Specialist Angelina Resendiz. We're here today to tell a story and also to ensure that the Navy has accountability and we have justice for her daughter. So what I'd like to do right now is to bring up our Chief Executive Officer of LULAC, Juan Proaño, so he can deliver his remarks.
Thank you, Larry. This microphone or?
Well, that's mine, but you just...
Both. Both. All right. There I go. Good morning, everyone. My name is Juan Proaño. I'm the CEO of LULAC. I want to begin by speaking directly to Esmeralda Cantu Castle, the mother of Seaman Angelina Resendiz. Ms. Castle, on behalf of LULAC and all gathered here, I extend our deepest condolences. We are heartbroken and devastated of the loss of your daughter, Angelina, a vibrant 21-year-old Latina sailor from Brownsville, Texas, who had her whole life ahead of her. No mother should have to endure what you are going through. Angelina's service and sacrifice will not be forgotten. And today, we stand with you, an entire community that mourns with you. We honor Angelina's memory, and we lift up your family in prayer and solidarity during this unbearable time. But I'm also outraged because of what happened to Angelina was not just a tragedy. It was a preventable failure. We are here to demand justice for Angelina. Her disappearance on May 29th was mishandled from the start. Instead of immediately treating Angie as a missing person in danger, the Navy reportedly marked her as AWOL and waited 6 days to issue a missing persons alert, even giving her family false reassurances that she may be alive. In those critical days, Angelina's mother, Ms. Castle, was left to lead the search on her own for her daughter without meaningful support from the Navy or NCIS. This is outrageous and unacceptable. We demand a full, transparent investigation into why there were delays, miscommunication, and an apparent lack of urgency. We insist on accountability at every level. Any commander or official who failed to act appropriately must answer to it under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. A fellow sailor is now reportedly in custody as a suspect in Angelina's murder. We expect swift and firm justice against anyone responsible for this heinous crime. LULAC has formally written to the Secretary of the Navy, John Phelan, demanding answers, and we have alerted the leadership of the Department of Defense and in Congress, and we will not allow this case to be swept under the rug. Too often we hear, we leave no one behind. Yet the system left Angelina behind. Enough is enough. We are here to say no more stalling, no more secrecy. Angelina's family deserves the truth. And our Latino service members deserve to know that if something happens to them, LULAC will move heaven and earth to protect them and to punish those responsible. The fight is more than for one sailor. It's about standing up for the Latino men and women who wear our nation's uniform. Latinos have a proud tradition of military service, and their contributions are enormous. As of the latest data, nearly 1 in 5 active duty U.S. military personnel is Latino. That's roughly 250,000 service members. In the U.S. Navy alone, Latinos comprise over 18% of sailors, about 60,000 service members, bravely serving at sea and around the world. After their service, Latinos continue to serve our communities. There are approximately 1.5 million Latino veterans in the United States today. We also recognize that Latina women are an integral part of the armed forces. Women make up 17 to 21% of our military and Navy personnel, and nearly 1/5 of service members are Hispanic, which means tens of thousands of Latinos are proudly serving our country at this very moment. They, like Angelina, and Army Specialist Vanessa Guillen, before her, volunteered to defend this nation. We owe them nothing less than a safe and respectful environment in return. LULAC stands with all of our Latino service members and veterans. We are here to amplify their voices and demand that the military protect those who protect us. We call on the public and our leaders in Congress. Join us in supporting Angelina's family and all military families. Stand up, demand oversight, and ensure that our sons and daughters in uniform are valued and safeguarded. Angelina's case painfully echoes the tragedy of Vanessa Guillen 5 years ago. Back then, the system failed Vanessa, a Latina soldier who was sexually harassed and then murdered at Fort Hood, and it took a national outcry to get accountability. LULAC stood with the Guillen family, and together we fought for reforms. In Vanessa's name, Congress passed the I Am Vanessa Guillen Act, which President Biden signed into law to revamp how our military handles sexual harassment and missing persons cases. That law removed commanders from decisions on sexual assault and harassment investigations and made those crimes independent of the chain of command. It also made sexual harassment a crime under the UCMJ and other protections against retaliation. These reforms were supposed to ensure that no family ever goes through what the Guillens went through. And yet, here we are. The spirit of the law must now be honored. We demand full enforcement of the Vanessa Guillen Act's protections immediately in Angelina's case and across all services. There must be total transparency with Angelina's family. No more withheld information. No NDAs to silence witnesses. The Navy owes this family a public apology and an acknowledgement of their failures in communication and protocol. We further demand a thorough review of Naval Station Norfolk's protocols and handling reports of missing persons and of its climate for women of color. Institutional neglect and cultural silence have no place in today's military. LULAC's mission has always been to protect the civil rights of Latinos, protecting our Latino service members from institutional harm. We will not tolerate a military culture that leaves our service members vulnerable, unheard, or unprotected. To Angelina's family, we say you are not alone. Just as we stood with the Guillen family, we now stand with you. LULAC, alongside veterans advocates and millions of concerned Americans, will not rest until justice is done for Angelina Resendiz. We pledge to keep the pressure on until the full truth is known and those responsible, both the perpetrator of this crime and anyone whose negligence allowed it to happen, are held to account. We ask our communities and elected officials to unite in this cause. Support Angelina's family in their quest for answers, whether through public statements and congressional inquiries or helping amplify their story. Every Latina, every Latino who puts on a uniform must know that this nation cherishes their service enough to fight for their safety. Let us remember, Angelina, not only as a victim, but as a beloved daughter, a proud sailor, a member of our Latino community. We owe it to her and to all the brave Latino service members and veterans who have given so much to create a military culture of true respect, transparency, and accountability. We owe it to them to ensure that what happened to Vanessa Guillen and now to Angelina Resendiz never happens again. LULAC will continue this fight until our military institutions uphold the dignity and security of every soldier, sailor, airman, marine, and Coast Guardsman in their ranks. Angelina, we will not forget you. And to her family, Esmeralda, we stand by you every step of the way until justice is served. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan, for those kind words, important words that you had, and LULAC stands with ESME. I'm honored to say that we had the privilege of escorting ESME, the mother, to congressional offices, both on the House side and Senate side, and it's been led on the House side by Congressman Vicente Gonzalez from the Rio Grande Valley, who's her congressman in her district that ESME lives in, and the daughter lives in. But also, we had some good meetings today with Senator Tim Warner, staff, and actually Senator Kane, who came to visit with us. And they're going to write a letter to the Secretary of the Navy, Department of Defense, requesting accountability and justice. And also, Mr. Gonzalez on the House side, with other congressmen are going to write a letter also. So we made some good progress with Congress, because Congress is the one that has the oversight for the Department of Defense. What LULAC is looking for, there's 9 action items we asked for. We're looking for a full and transparent investigation into the death of Sailor Resendiz, including a public timeline and accountability for every step of the Navy and the NCIS, Naval Criminal Investigation Service response. Uniform Code of Military Justice accountability for any supervisors or command personnel who failed to take appropriate action. An explanation for why she was initially declared AWOL rather than listed as a missing person. Immediate disclosure of any non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, that service members were asked to sign related to this case. A formal review of Naval Station Norfolk's sexual assault and harassment procedures, especially as they relate to women of color. A public apology and acknowledgement of the mishandling and miscommunication with the family. Full enforcement of I Am the Vanessa Guillen Act with its protections actively applied to this and other similar cases. Collaboration on a civilian family guide to support loved ones navigating institutional barriers after military tragedies. Continued transparency and access to documents under the Freedom of Information Act for the Resendiz family. Again, we are here, we stand with Esme and her family and Sailor Angelina Resendiz. Now I'm proud to bring up the mother, the proud mother of an American patriot, Esme Esmeralda Cantu Castle. Esme, please come in. Bless you.
I am the mother of Angelina Resendiz. I am very grateful and thankful to be able to have support of people that care, who care about Angie, who care about people in need, who care about the voices that are being silenced. What happened is a tragedy. My daughter her life was taken by another sailor, someone that she knew, someone that worked with her. And all the things leading up to her missing for 12 days was a tragedy. The not reporting her as soon as it was reported to the command that Angie was missing, it wasn't reported. it wasn't reported the second day, it wasn't reported the third day. And by Tuesday, there was an official notice during 6 days. By the 9th, the Navy, was not physically looking for her. It wasn't their responsibility to go out there and physically look for her. She was found by children in a wooded area, and then sent home to the way she was found. With no respect, no dignity, no honor. Why this happened? I don't know why. Only that there is a system in place and it does not work. And I don't know if it's ever worked. And I don't know if anyone would acknowledge that there is a problem and accept responsibility for it to make a change. All I know is that I have a service that I need to attend, and that's my daughter's service. And I'm just trying to honor her as best as we can and bring awareness that this happens. This has continued to happen. There is a pattern, and it is, you cannot deny it. You cannot look away. It is in our face, and it will continue to happen if nothing changes. Congress is responsible for our military. It is their responsibility to create them, to maintain them, to fund them, and to regulate them. If this is a failure on the military because they're failing to follow an active statutes or codes of conduct that they're supposed to be trained on, it's our leaders should take action. They can stop this. They can change it. They can enact laws. They can make a way for families to have justice and this not ever happen again. And that's really all. That was all that happened, was that something was put in place to prevent these types of harms or lack of care. I mean, so it came down to it. They just didn't care. They didn't care about Angie. They were worried about themselves. And I'm just grateful that we found her. But, I think that if anything can be done to restore that which was lost, I think that our people, this country, our government that we put our trust in, can restore safety. They can restore honor and community and all the things that we believe that a military is. That's where our children go. The military is built by the people, and it should continue to protect the people. That's all.
Nobody wants to be a Gold Star mother, whether you kill in action or murdered. She's a Gold Star mother now. That's really sad and pathetic. And that's why we want to hold the Navy and Department of Defense accountable. Because there's some things that are horrendous. I mean, I was going to mention too that really I find repugnant. She was told by one of the supervisors, "Hey, we saw your daughter. She's in the other room." I said, "Well, please call me." So that was a misleading lie, if not miscommunication for sure. And then it took a group of kids playing in a wooded forest 6 miles from the base to find the body. Instead of the Navy going actively searching. They should have done that. They should have looked around and stuff, because that's repugnant. She went missing May 29th and they found her body June 9th. So we have no idea what happened between May 29th and June 9th to this day. What I'd like to do now is bring the victim advocate lawyer, who's a Coast Guard retired JAG, who's an expert in this area, Marshall Griffin, and we want to thank Mr. Griffin, Attorney Griffin, come up here. And we want to thank you for helping the mother and just leaders at the state.
Good morning. My name is Marshall Griffin. I'm representing Ms. Castle in this case, primarily to assert her rights of a crime victim under the UCMJ. You heard her say, "I don't know," countless number of times when she was up here talking. My job is to help her get rid of some of those "I don't knows." The next procedural step we would expect to see is an 32 hearing, and we expect some of those "I don't knows" to start to go away as we approach that hearing and learn more about what the government plans to do in this case. Thank you.
We'll stand up if there's any questions for him or Angelina that the press would like, or anybody else. Please stand up and we'll open up for questions, please. Press.
Is there any reason why you're not getting the answers that you want, or why it took so long to figure out to handle this as far as her being missing?
Why I'm not getting any information?
Yes.
So, starting with her ship, the information that they gave me when I started to call and ask about her, was that she was okay. You know, I called and I said her name, they knew what I was talking about. Her friends had called me to let me know that they reported to their command that Angie hasn't been seen and the command hasn't acted. And when I called, they gave me the number. I spoke with the officer on deck, Chief Anderson, and he said, "Oh, Angelina Resendiz, oh yeah, she's fine. She's just in another room." The missing report that was given was more dramatic, or he said it was more dramatized than necessary. She's fine. She was told to report to work on Friday. So I asked him to have her call me. I was like, okay, well, have her call me. And she didn't call me. She never answered. She didn't show up to work on Friday. And I called again, and it was the Chief Parker who told me the same thing. He saw her the day before, saw who she was with, told her to show up to work, and she didn't show up to work. And then his response to me after night, like, okay, well, she's missing. How do we find her? What do I do? Who do I call? He said that, well, maybe she's just AWOL and she needs a break, and hopefully she shows up Monday. And so, I mean, we talked about why they didn't tell me anything. That's what they told me. And after that, once NCIS was involved, there's no more information coming to me.
When you found out there was a suspect in custody, how did you feel about that?
I was a little confused. No, I wasn't confused. It was, I knew who the person that she was with last. When that person showed up to work on Monday, I asked if they talked to him, well, where's my daughter? And it was different because he said he hadn't seen her. That's what they told me, that his response was he had not seen her, and he was allowed still to be on the base.
A question for the lawyer.
Yes, sir.
What type of justice are you seeking, and where are we at now?
So again, the pretrial confinement hearing was held. The decision was made to keep him incarcerated pending the charging. The next step we would expect to see would be a preliminary hearing under Article 32 of the UCMJ, as analogous to a grand jury hearing or a preliminary hearing to determine if there's probable cause to take those charges to a general court martial. So we would expect that's kind of where we are. As far as justice goes, I don't know enough about what that looks like. We haven't learned enough, and I look forward to getting answers to those questions and learning what the government's theory of the case is based on the evidence that they have.
Could you explain the relationship between the body being found by the civilian justice system versus the Navy, how they interact?
So I know there's a lot of cooperation between different entities at that level. There's not, to my knowledge, a lot of territorialism. I would expect to learn about cooperation and managing that, gathering the evidence with the same focus of preserving it so that there's a successful prosecution.
And SB, if you don't mind, could you explain how they brought the body? They didn't know.
Can you come a little closer?
Well, yeah, I mean, they brought the body and we had this ceremony of her coming and being transferred from the plane to the hearse to the funeral home. And I went to the funeral home the next day. I wanted to see her. You know, I didn't know what to expect. I knew she'd been missing for days and she was found outside. And it probably wouldn't look the best. But you know, when they opened the back of me and I saw her body, you know, she was covered, she was infested with maggots and bugs and decaying. Like, they didn't preserve her body or prepare her to come home. And so, from the beginning to the end, I feel like she's been failed. Her command failed her. Military failed her. You know, I think we should stop blaming her. And all these other individuals, women, majority women, from this type of harm. We can't be okay with it. It shouldn't be okay. We shouldn't be like, oh, it happened, right? Isolated incidents. These aren't isolated incidents. They're happening systematically across all branches. This system doesn't work. It's broken. A new one needs to be in place. And that new one should involve everyone who is involved, from the ground to the communities to, you know, the military and the command, all the way down to the seamen, to our farmers. Everyone should be involved in creating a system that works, that provides safety, that provides the structure that's needed. There is a solution. It just takes work.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate the media coming out here, and I appreciate you, Marshall. It's important that we get the word out because it's up to Congress to fix things, Department of Defense, but it's also up to the media and public pressure to really get things going. Yes, Mr. Gonzalez?
Yeah, can you talk about who we met with in Congress? Yes, sir.
Yes, we had some really strong advocates that we met with yesterday. Off the top of my head, Congresswoman Monica Cruz, who represents the Rio Grande Valley, where we met her. It's right adjacent to where Esme lives. We also met with Congressman Eugene Vindman's office. He was a patriot himself, and his chief of staff is an Naval Academy grad, Marine officer, so he understands the system. We also met with Congressman Gabe Vasquez's office. We also met with the House Armed Services Committee permanent staff there, and they're gonna help us out. Congressman Vicente Gonzalez. Also, we met with Congressman Henry Cuellar, and when we went to the Appropriations Committee, we also met with other congresswomen and congressmen when they're having the Appropriations Committee meeting yesterday. We also met with a couple more, but this is just off the top of my head. And today we met with Senator Mark Warner's representative and Senator Tim Kaine, who came in person, and Senator Tim Kaine's office. But again, we'd like to really appreciate the two U.S. senators from Virginia to being very proactive, and Congressman Vicente Gonzalez for being very proactive and leading the charge. And today we're going to meet with Congressman Robert Garcia's office and also Congressman Joaquin Castro from Texas. But it's important that we fix the system. 20%, approximately 17% serve are women. We need to protect not only the women, but all the people, men and women, from sexual assault, sexual harassment, and from being murdered. So it's up to us to fix the system. And all of you all have a voice, so please tell your legislators, let's get it fixed. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
So people that's watching this and want to be more involved, how can they continue to follow this And what information would you share to keep them up to date?
But today, we have this on Facebook Live, so we're going to promote that out there. But also, there'll be stories in the media. We just need to follow the case, and you need to talk to your representative, federal representative, and say, hey, let's support 1% of the people who serve this country, okay, to protect the other 99%. And it's important that we protect that 1% because they're helping us. They're protecting our freedom, protecting our democracy. So we have to make sure the 1% is ready to go in combat if we need. But it's important that we protect callers. So that's the most important thing, is just to follow the story, talk to your representatives, and also to vote. It's important that you vote the right people that care about our citizens. So make sure you go and vote and tell your family to go vote. We need to have close to 100%. There's other countries, everybody goes vote, but here, sometimes they don't come out to vote. So that's important. Thank you.
Just thank you all really for being here. We appreciate your time. You can go to LULAC.org for any updates that we're going to have, and of course, our thoughts and prayers.